What is up, everyone? Hope you're having a beautiful day so far today. Today's episode is a little bit special in the fact that you're getting 4 days instead of 3, so stay tuned for that. I made some amazing progress and I can't wait to share it with you guys. But really quick shameless plug, by the time this video is actually live on YouTube, I will either A, already be back on campus, or B, will be moving there within the next 12 hours or so. And a big thing about being home for the summer has been that I've been limited on the internet and also limited in my availability to be able to make videos for you guys and especially stream. Being back on campus is going to mean, number one, much better internet. So, of course, that means that I can upload way quicker. Better availability to make videos, so I'll be able to actually take the time to create them and record and everything. That way I can upload them for you guys. And number three, the better internet again will mean that I'm able to stream again. If you're not already following my Twitch and you want to watch me stream this progress live, head over to Twitch and follow PandaForce26. There will be a link for that in the description below. Anyway, day 16 was a day of attack training. I hit deadly red spiders. I figure at this point, starting at 51 attack, I should have good enough accuracy to be able to kill them pretty accurately anyway. And the reason they were a problem before is I would just splash so much and I would take a lot of damage at the same time, which meant a lot of banking for food. But at this point, I was finally able to kill them quickly enough. And they actually give a lot of XP per kill, so I think they were very worth it. I got hit points level maybe 2, I don't really remember. But I did go from 51 to 60 attack. And there's also a funny clip in there of when the combat reticule, like the little bar above the deadly red spiders, had glitched out. I thought that was really funny. Wanted to share it with you guys. But 60 attack, really good milestone, because that means once I do finally go pay to play, I have access to dragon weaponry, assuming I do the quest required, primarily being stuff like Lost City, Monkey Madness. You know how it goes. But 60 attack, really good to get that out of the way. After that, though, I decided to hit the beach. Now, this day as a whole wasn't super productive in the fact that I really only did attack and the beach. I don't remember if I was really busy. Maybe this was a time I was actually, I think this was when I was recording for my last episode, so that'll probably explain it. But I did hit the beach. I got 81 cooking, really cool milestone. Again, don't want to keep emphasizing the beach as something that isn't too impressive because, you know, it is the beach, but it's really good to be getting this done and out of the way. Ideally, I would like really high cooking that way. Once I actually start training it off the beach, I can just do something like sharks and just not have to worry too much about burning sharks. I think that would be a really, really good situation to put myself in. At the end of day 16, I did not quite finish capping. I had gotten 122k of my cooking XP into the cap so far out of a little over 200. You guys know how it is. Had 5.7 mil, a little bit over total XP, so really good progress. And let's see how day 17 went. Now, as you guys know, when I am capping at the beach at the barbecue, I, number one, make sure I'm using an anti-sun potion for an extra 5% bonus XP while on the beach, and number two, I make sure I'm using a barbecue spotlight plot. That way, I get an extra 10% bonus XP on top of that when I'm cooking. Now, the sad part about that is sometimes I can't find a barbecue world, so what I do in the meantime is, as of recently, I've started alching. So I got a magic level. That was pretty cool. That way I'm actually being productive instead of just kind of sitting around and hopping worlds for 5 minutes, whatever it is. But I did finally finish capping 222k total cooking XP, a little bit over 2.3 mil total, nothing else to say about that. After that, of course, it was right back down to the Varrock sewers to hit the deadly red spiders again. I already got 60 attack, now it was time to even that out. So I got some strength levels, I finally stopped at 60, and then I went on to defense and got 60 defense as well, which is fantastic. That means once I do finally go pay to play, I am able to use good members, I don't want to say good, but obviously using members' armor instead of just wearing rune. Again, my whole goal is to complete as much free-to-play content as I can. That way, once I do become a member, I'm not doing anything that I could be doing as a non-member anyway. So really great to get 60 all across the board there. Of course, reset came back to the beach. I got 82 cooking and finally stopped this cap at 224k cooking XP total from this day at the beach, and then wound up with a total of 2.55 mil total cooking XP, so really good. Now, the bots in free-to-play are actually really bad in certain areas, and this is one of them. Finding an empty world to mine was terrible, and I actually wound up crashing a guy who wasn't a bot, and I felt so terribly guilty because I log on and he's like, seriously, dude? And I said, every other world is bots, mate. And then he wound up leaving, and then he came back, and he was so angry because he must have hopped through every single world, and I was right. So it's really bad. Make sure you guys are reporting bots if you see them. But I got 45 mining, really good because that means once I am pay to play, I can finally do granite, which is probably one of the fastest mining methods at this level anyway, which is going to be really good. And especially if I do wind up using porters, be able to make a decent amount of money for it, or at least collect some summoning supplies. That does mark the end of day 17 though, at almost 6.5 mil total XP. That's almost halfway to a 99. That's pretty cool. However, considering it has taken me 17 days to get here, that's not really that efficient. It would take me an incredibly long to max at this pace. But I think, all things considered, this puts me in a really good position to speed up my XP per hour later in the game. Day 18 started off at the wonderful AFK woodcutting and firemaking location that you guys all know and love. So basically I went from 66 woodcutting and 68 firemaking to stopping at 68 woodcutting and 69 firemaking, which is really great. That 68 woodcutting puts me in a wonderful location because now once I'm a member I can finally do Ivy. I don't need to worry about chopping any sort of stupid log until, well, I guess until I'm able to do Arctic Pines. Now, I know I told you guys before I wanted to get 66 crafting because at that level you can do air battle staffs. That's how I got 99 crafting the last time around. And because I bought my staffs really cheap from, NAF and whatnot, and also because I alked my staffs as far as I recall, I was able to make a decent amount of money from it, and I thought that that would be a really good route to go through this time around. I want to get crafting up early as well because I want to be able to add runes to my own urns and everything along those lines. Not necessarily make them, but I don't want to have to request assistance every time I need to add runes to urns that I buy. I think that'll really help speed up things like mining, woodcutting, fishing, cooking, things all around the board there. But I did some research, and it turns out that not only do air battle staffs profit if you buy from NAF and ALK, but also fire battle staffs do. So I don't really need 66. I only needed to get to 62. And that is what I did, and that is definitely the route I'm going to take. I cannot wait to actually be able to start making these staffs in terms of stocking up on supplies and getting those levels up. After that, I decided to delve into Daemonheim. I went from level 60 to 62 dungeoneering. Now, 62 is around the milestone that you get 34,000 tokens, which is what you need to unlock the Bone Crusher. I had to do a couple floors past 62. I think that's just because I had opened up some of the resource dungeons and whatnot, which gave me some XP, put me a little bit farther ahead in terms of XP than tokens, but I corrected that, and even though it doesn't show up in the free-to-play shop, I do have enough tokens to buy a Bone Crusher when I do become a member. This is really, really going to help me out so much once I begin Slayer. It's just going to be such a great convenience and give me a lot of prayer XP that I normally might ignore. Now, even though I could continue dungeoneering in free-to-play and get myself more tokens to get myself in a situation where I have more things to buy in terms of, maybe buying some scrolls or saving up for something like a Charming Imp. I don't think that's really that necessary at this point. Number one, just because as far as my levels go, I could use better binds in every single slot if I was a member just because of my stats. Number two is that as a free-to-play player, I can't unlock a lot of doors that involve member skills, whether that be a thieving door, an herblore door, farming, all things along those lines just limits me a lot on the amount of XP I can get. And I'm also not quite at the point where I'm into the actual pay-to-play floors in terms of unlocking occult floors, but I'm still getting toward that area, and I think it'd just be so much better to actually train this as a member. After that, I wanted to get my range level up from 50. Google, and by Google I mean RuneScape Wiki, said that Katablepons, or however you're supposed to say that name, were supposed to be really good range training at this level. So I tried them and I just really didn't like them. I don't know if it's just because I felt like they were slow or what it was. That could have had a lot to do with the fact that I was only using, I think it was iron or steel arrows. I know I started with bronze and then I was like, no, this isn't going to happen. And I wound up upgrading my arrows. I remember back in the day you could use bronze arrows with whatever bow and it was still all right. But anyway, after that, getting a level there, I decided I would try Moss Giants. Maybe that would be better. And it did feel a little bit better, but it still wasn't great. I was thinking to myself, range training is just going to be such a bitch getting up to 60. Then, as you would have it, back to the beach. Now, I discovered through very careful just deciding to try it for why not, that you can actually alch while you're in combat and it doesn't interrupt any abilities, as far as I could tell anyway. So I got a magic level while I was killing Claudia. That was pretty interesting. And then I went on to get 83 cooking. Good milestone. Total of 228,000 cooking XP from this cap, making good progress. Now, if I did an inadequate job explaining how desperate I was about ranged earlier, I went back to the catacombs. And, I mean, it was pretty click intensive. It was probably around the same XP as Hill Giants overall. I'm really not entirely sure, but I did not enjoy it at all. I did get 53 though, and then after that it was pretty much the end of day 18. Had 972 total level, almost 7.25 mil total XP, making really good progress, and let's see what day 19 has in store for us. Now, day 19, I finally ballsed up and I bought some rune arrows. They were very cheap. I have no idea why I didn't do that sooner. I'm sure it would have made everything that I tried previously a lot better. But I hit deadly red spiders. They were actually giving me a lot of XP. As I already said, they have a really high XP drop. I think it's around 399 or so in whatever skill you're training, so that's really, really great. And, of course, using rune arrows, even though my accuracy was not very good when I did hit, it hit pretty hard, and that made training here pretty bearable. I got level 60, which was good because that meant, again, level 60 is the milestone we're looking for. Once I go pay to play, I can finally use some sort of members' equipment, whether that wind up being a dragon two-handed crossbow, which personally I'm not sure I'm going to go with because I think that would kind of be a waste of my resources in terms of money. I think it'd be around, 6+ mil at least, and that's money I could be using to flip stuff on the side, and ideally I would like to be making money while I'm also training, just because being able to make money through the Grand Exchange to support bonds would just be really convenient. So that leaves me with the options of a Red Salamander or a Demon Slayer crossbow, I believe, and we'll see what happens with that. Now at this point there isn't really a whole lot left for me to do in the free-to-play game, which is really great. So at this point I'm thinking to myself, like, what could I possibly do in free-to-play that I would be looking to do if I was to make myself a member right now. So I figure, well, I might as well get all of my pay-to-play skills up to 5, because that's the level cap for free-to-play. So I got up my divination, my agility, I went on to do some thieving, I also did fletching, herblore, summoning, and hunting. And again, this was strictly just because I could. There was no reason not to. At this point, it's pretty much just a ticking time bomb as far as when I finally decide to actually take the plunge and buy a bond. And at this point, this XP is free in terms of the actual money I would be spending for it. As far as, again, bond money, once I'm using a bond, it's a countdown, and I need to be making money alongside that to sustain it. However, hopping skills after only getting from level 1 to 5 probably wasn't very efficient of my time. At this point, it was just like, it was halfway through the day at least, and I wasn't really thinking it would have made sense in my own personal opinion for me to be like, well, I'll become a member halfway through the day and then do some progress, when I would really rather fully enjoy it in terms of becoming a member early in the morning and then just being able to grind all day and make just absolutely ridiculous progress. So again, at this point I was waiting for my farming patches to grow, so I decided to do some alching. I got a couple alch levels, aka mage levels, and while I was doing that I also noticed some springs in my bank. Springs that I gotten from 2, maybe even 3 rolls on Treasure Hunter. So free 1.7 mil for that. Thank you, Jagex. I do appreciate that. But after that, I did finally get level 5 farming, which put me at level 5 in every pay-to-play skill that I could. The only ones that I couldn't were number 1, construction. I tried going to the Varrock estate agent in to see if I could get a house, and he just wasn't there. I guess he doesn't appear on free-to-play worlds. And the second was Slayer. There are no Slayer masters I could really access in free-to-play unless maybe I was to try Vanaka in Edgeville Dungeon, but I didn't. After that, it was back to the beach. Got level 84, really cool. And as I've said before, I've been using the Friends chat titled Beach Hunt to find my Spotlight worlds, and there was this guy who I'm showing on screen now who was saying, hey, who wants a token? I've got a whole bunch of tokens. And I figured, yeah, I'll go. I'll see what happens. And it wound up being very conflicting to me because I was thinking to myself, well, if he gives me like a really cheap token and I just use it, then it's not really that much of a handout because it's just cosmetic, number 1, and number 2, it's something I could have bought really cheaply on my own anyway, so it's not like a big deal. And he wound up offering me a Claudia hat, so very generous guy. I don't know why he was giving out Claudia hats and whatnot, because this was probably the most expensive item that you can get from the beach, either from killing Claudia or while you're skilling. It was a little over 2 mil. And I wound up being like, I felt so conflicted in the fact that I've been saying from the very beginning, I'm not going to take any loans, any handouts, or any sort of boosting, anything along those lines. So I ended up having to decline the trade, but I do really appreciate this guy reaching out to me in this way and reaching out to the whole friends chat in a very generous way. It was pretty cool. Quickly resumed my capping at the beach, though. I got 233,000 cooking XP from my 4 thermometers at the beach, and then it was back to the Grand Exchange. I finally did it. I bought a bond. I offered 10 mil in an instant bought. Actually, no. Yeah, it did. It did instant buy. So I now have a bond on my account. I am ready to become a member, and it's so exciting because I know once I'm a member, I have so much to do. Not only in terms of being so far from max, but in terms of the amount of sheer content in the game. This is day 19. This is me basically getting as far as I want to in free to play in just 19 days, right? Imagine how long it's going to take me to do that in pay to play. You know, not only do I have to max, and not only do I have a general idea of the order I want to train skills, but I have so many tasks I need to do. I have so many quests that I need to do. It's literally overwhelming how much sheer content I need to push myself through and how I need to balance it, because I don't want to be just XP wasting and running around doing quests, but I don't want to put quests off too long to the point where the rewards don't really benefit me anymore. And at the same time, I need to be balancing making money, whether that be through something as simple as tanning hides, or whether I wind up grinding dragons, or whether I wind up just trying to be really efficient with my flipping, or whether that even means just grinding Slayer really hard, really early to be able to get good tasks and make money that way. It's just, I have so much to do, and I am so thrilled and excited to have gotten to this point and to be sharing it with you guys. I hope you are enjoying this even a fraction of as much as I am, because even though being banned is such a, I don't want to say like a terrible, awful, like traumatizing experience, because you know, it is just a game. It's not that big of an emotional deal, but it did hurt. I was very upset to be banned, but to be able to go through all of this content again has just been so exciting and so enjoyable to feel that rush of progress again. When you hit late game or end game in RuneScape, even though there's so much you can do, that feeling of progress slows down a lot because your progress is spaced out by so much time. You know, whether your goal be 120s or whether it be something even as drastic as getting a 200 mil, you know, even if it's some really big financial goal, it takes a long time to get there. And being that I was able to pretty much complete free-to-play in what I consider to be completing free-to-play in 19 days, and to now be ready to embark on this incredible progress journey in pay-to-play is just, I can't even express it to you guys. Being banned was terrible, but it's also been a very good thing in just giving me an opportunity to do this, because there's no way I would have done this otherwise. I would have just been grinding out 120s or being stupid and risking getting my account banned, or just kind of like slowly getting some XP so I wasn't XP wasting while doing some flipping. The game was fun. I loved playing the game, but not to this degree. This is just a whole new level for me, and I'm really loving reliving this whole noob experience, and the fact that even stuff as simple as going through old quests is going to be enjoyable in reliving that old lore and the nostalgia and being able to feel like it's like 2008 again, and not in terms of playing the game through 2008 mechanics, but through going through the story. And again, I am so excited to be sharing it with you guys. As I've already said, by the time this video is up, I will already have started or will very soon be starting streaming. So again, check the description for my Twitch link, PandaForce26. Make sure you drop a follow. That way, again, when I am streaming, you will be notified. You can hang out with me. Make sure, if you do get that notification, that you stop by, say hi, and just hang out. I don't pull a lot of viewers because I'm not like some massive Bodhi streamer, but it's a really great atmosphere, and I really love hanging out with you guys and having that sort of community. I hope to see you there. Other than that, guys, have an incredible, amazing day. Stay happy, and make sure you stay tuned for episode 7, where I will return and I will rebuild. Oh my god, I was so jazzed up I didn't even mention I had almost 7.75 mil total XP.